Good morning. Happy Monday. I'm back to read Spring According to Humphrey. We wrapped up chapter 5 last week, and remember that Humphrey has been at just Joey's house, the excitement of Joey's dog, and also the new aquarium and tadpoles that Joey got has brought a lot of excitement. It sounds like Joey's mom would like the tadpoles to go back to school with Humphrey come Monday morning. So here's chapter 6. It's called Swim, Swim, Swim. On Monday, Joey's mom threw a small blanket over the aquarium and another one over my cage, and I began my dark journey back to school. Mrs. Brisbane was excited about having the tadpoles, she said, but I'm not sure we need the blankets. It's a beautiful day. Really? I squeaked, because I couldn't see anything. Once my cage was uncovered, I was back on the table by the windowsill in room 26. Boing, boing! Og's strange voice rang out. Be prepared, Og, I squeaked back at him. You're going to see something surprising. Joey's mom set the aquarium on the table between Og's tank and my cage, then hurried off to work. Soon all my classmates were crowded around the table, asking Joey what was in the aquarium. Mrs. Brisbane told them to take their seats. After the bell rings, we'll talk about our signs of spring. Then Joey will explain what's in the tank. My friends looked disappointed as they went back to their tables. I was pretty sure they'd be even more disappointed when they found out that there was nothing in the tank but 2 specks. The bell rang and Mrs. Brisbane took attendance. Now can we see what's in the tank? Slow down, Simon asked. Mrs. Brisbane smiled and said, try to be a little bit patient. Now raise your hand if you'd like to share a sign of spring that you found this weekend. A lot of hands went up. Mrs. Brisbane called on Rolling Rosie first. It's staying light longer in the evening, and it was just so warm today. I didn't have to wear my winter coat, just a light jacket, she said. Yes, Mrs. Brisbane nodded. The days start to get longer in the spring. Remember, we set our clocks forward an hour for daylight savings time, so the skies are light a lot longer now. Hurry Up Harry raised his hand. But it's darker in the morning. It's hard to get out of bed when it's dark. He yawned a big yawn. Some of my friends laughed, but Mrs. Brisbane agreed. I have to admit, it's hard for me to get up too, Harry. Lots of my classmates had seen leaves budding on trees, grass springing out of the ground, and flowers growing. Helpful Holly said her mom had taken her shopping for spring clothes. That's a great sign of spring, Mrs. Brisbane said. The stores are full of Easter candy, Thomas said, but my mom won't buy it for me. She says Easter is a long way off. His comment brought more giggles. Small Paul got up and showed the class a new chart he'd made of spring temperatures over the last 10 years. We've been having average temperatures for spring, he said as he pointed to wavy lines and explained them. At last, it was Joey's turn. My dad sent me 2 signs of spring. May I show them now? He asked Mrs. Brisbane. Our teacher said yes, and Joey walked over to our table. In the spring, lots of animals come out of hibernation and have new babies, he said, including these. All eyes were on Joey as he pulled the small blanket off the aquarium. I heard a gasp, then silence. The only one who made a sound was Og. Boing, boing, boing. These are tadpoles, Joey said. I mean, they're going to grow into tadpoles, and tadpoles grow into frogs. They just look like dots now, but pretty soon they'll grow tails and legs and start to become frogs. Everybody was quiet until Og twanged. Boing, boing, boing. That made everybody laugh. Stop talking, Sophie's hand shot up. Was Og a tadpole once? Joey nodded. Sure, all frogs were. My friends seemed surprised, and so was I. Can we see them? Felipe asked. Mrs. Brisbane had my friends make a line so that each one could have a good look. "You might be disappointed," I squeaked. "They don't do much." One by one, they came up to the aquarium to look at the specks with Mrs. Brisbane and Joey. "What's that goo?" Not Now Nicole asked. "It's like the inside of an egg," Joey said. He looked up at Mrs. Brisbane. "Right?" "Yes, I think so," she replied, "but we will all study tadpoles to learn more about them." Suddenly, Og dived down in the water side of his tank and began splashing loudly. "What's wrong with him?" Joey asked. "Maybe he doesn't want any competition," Mrs. Brisbane said with a smile. "Or maybe he's excited to have new friends." "What's so exciting about 2 new friends when they're only specks? Having a hamster friend is much more interesting." When Tall Paul came up to the tank, he just shook his head. "It's hard to believe those 2 dots will become frogs like Og." "Boing, boing," Og said. "Right," I agreed. Joey explained that they wouldn't be exactly like Og because he was a green frog and they were leopard frogs. "Wow," Tall Paul said. "Will they have spots?" "Yep," Joey replied. Helpful Holly asked, "Will they be our classroom pets like Humphrey and Og?" "No, no, no," I squeaked. "They are nothing like Og and me." I'm sorry to admit it, but I didn't like that idea at all. "They belong to Joey," Mrs. Brisbane said. "For now, let's just watch them grow." And we're going to stop there today. Tomorrow I'll be back and we'll continue reading this chapter. Have a great day. Bye.